welcome to NiteLife Exchanges, where we gather and we talk about things nightlife, including Broadway, cabaret, jazz, and theater. And we have a special guest here today. We're going to introduce her shortly. Just about 2 years ago, at the 38th Annual MAC Association of Cabarets, the MAC Awards, one of the categories was extremely exciting. It was New York debut female. And that year included award nominees Eden Castile for Con Artist, Madeline and Me at Don't Tell Mama, Nicole Spano for Family Ties at Don't Tell Mama, Elvira Totoro for Bookmaker's Daughter at Don't Tell Mama, and Camille Diamond for Over the Moon on Pluto Transit at Don't Tell Mama. There was a lot going on at Don't Tell Mama to get things up and running, new shows in the cabaret business. And the 2024 MAC Award winner for female debut was Camille Diamond, and she's with us today. So here's a little something that she came up with from her last show, and then we'll see her after that.
Everybody's going to the moon. Everybody's going, and it'll be quite soon. Oh, it's customary in songs like this to recognize the tune. By the light, the silvery will take a flight to the silvery. Oh, everybody's going, and that big old moon keeps glowing. Everybody's going to the moon. The
And so that is Camille Diamond from her show that she won that category for debut 2 years ago, and she's got a new show now. But before we go any further, it's time for me to bring on the co-producer here, co-host here at NiteLife Exchanges, Mr. Tony Javid. Tony, come on, Tony.
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Scott.
I know. It's so different, everything. It's been a while since we did one, so I'm a little rusty, I think. I'm a little rusty. But I'm ready to meet Camille and not meet, but I mean see Camille and catch up on this new show.
Always. It sounds like a real treat. Let's bring her on. Hey, Camille.
Hi,
Camille.
nice to see you all again. Yeah.
I haven't seen you in about 2 or 3 weeks. I saw you at the last MAC Awards. So
That's right. That was fun.
It
Exciting.
was
Good
fun.
evening.
It was a good night. And but now you're back. You've got that win from 2 years ago. You worked on a new show. Can you let me ask you what's the title of the show and when is it going to be? Let's get that out of the way first.
Sure. So it's called Camille Sings to Neil. It's a tribute to one of my favorite singers, Tony Tennille. And it is in May 3rd, 7th, and 9th, which is actually Tony Tennille's birthday week. She's going to be 86 years old.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Happy
Nice.
birthday.
And you're back at Don't Tell Mama.
Yes.
And you know what? I love
It's
that
home.
little room. I love
Mhm.
that little room.
Me too.
It's home for me as well. And a
Mhm.
lot of people started in that room, and it's
Mhm.
just it's a nice vibe in there. So with all of that, I mean, let me ask you this, Camille, Tony Tennille and the Captain, they captured a generation. They were a long moment in time.
Mhm.
And how did you land on them as the show?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've always loved her. I think it's because, she captured my imagination really early, because the time when the Captain and Tennille was on, I was a small child and nobody had my name. Like, this is fact. I desperately wanted somebody to have the same name as me, because everybody was named Jennifer, but not me.
Right.
And so, nobody was named Camille. And so, like, literally, when I heard the Captain and Tennille, I thought, oh, she's got my name. Like, I thought it was, I felt so much kinship with her. Also she was a Southern lady, and all of my family was from the South. There was something about her that was so warm and familiar to me also. And then you just add to it the fact that she was so showbiz. I mean, that show was just so like glitz and glamour and Bob Mackie and, and all the things, which of course, as a future theater child, I was all over it. So she just imprinted on me very young. And so when I was actually, it's funny, I was working on the my former show, Over the Moon on Pluto Transit, when I was listening to Spotify and they dropped, you know, Can't Stop Dancing, one of their hits, and I was like, oh my God, I love this song. I forgot about this song, and I immediately started to think that would be a good show.
That is awesome. And I mean, they dominated. I mean, it was sort of the song of the summer of 74, right? Love Will Keep It. Was it
76? Yeah. Okay. That's when they won the Grammy. Yeah. I know.
Gotcha. I'm a little older than you, Camille, because I was that was the year that I graduated high school.
Oh,
wow.
Good year.
But you know, that music from that time, there was so many different things going on because there was still the rock coming through from the 60s and the early 70s.
Yeah.
Disco was just starting to really to crack the scene in a bigger way. And then you had, you know, just stuff that was fun. And they fell right into that fun category. So the process of doing the show, you just listen to the songs, figured out a good way to organize them, and are you telling the whole story in an order that makes, you know, the show of how they did the show?
Yeah. You know, I always think it's interesting when you see a tribute show because you want to tell the stories of the people's life through the music that they did. That's essential. I remember, you know, in the last time I got to sit down with you guys and you interviewed all four of our nominees. And I remember Eden saying, you know, my first thought was I'm just going to like spill out a whole biography of, you know, Madeline Kahn and then it was just, she's like, oh my God, it's an encyclopedia. What do I do? And then she made that fabulous show from it, you know, and I remembered her saying that. And I was very lucky because Toni Tennille wrote an autobiography. She wrote a memoir in 2015 that I devoured several times. So that was an easy way to learn what was most important to her and even have her words to explain it. So that's real valuable. And if, you know, the more that you sort of absorb it and digest it, the more that you know her and can really, as you're singing these songs, especially the ones that she wrote, you know what she meant, you know what she was doing, you know what she was going after. And that was really helpful. I went to, you know, those trips that Signasium does with Il Chiostro. I went to Tuscany in 2024, that summer. And I got to work with Tracy Stark and Lenny there. And that's the first time I put together a song of hers, Lonely Night by the great Neil Sedaka, you know, which was one of my favorites. And so I worked on that with Tracy and I had a great time with that. I also, you know, just really got to feel like there was a lot that people don't know about her. She really told it out in her memoir, but they don't know about her marriage. They don't know about her musical background, like how musical she was so early and what she was almost a prodigy with you know, with playing keyboards and such. Like people don't know that about her because they just see her as this beautiful, glamorous, you know, lady on the TV who sings and, you know, and smiles and, you know, has this great relationship with her husband. Like that's what they know. And there's so much more. It was exciting to tell it.
Because she was the one who actually gave voice. We think we know her, but then when you actually said, it's like, yeah, despite all of that and thinking that he was the enigma, that actually there's a lot to learn about.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, in retrospect, now looking back, firstly, we didn't know a lot of things about life and about where people were at and all that was going on. And he was the quiet one, and she bounced off of him. She bounced off of him. And there stories have come at this point that there were some issues with that because he had certain issues being on a part of the spectrum and not functioning at at a level that he could have had they really known what was going on.
Right.
But
that was part of it.
They did make it work. And it's that kind of stuff that, you know, we know that in retrospect now looking back, what they could have done, and they probably would have. It could have been different, but you know what? It was right the way that it was at that moment in time.
It sure did. Yeah, it worked out well. They did okay. And she was a genius at just taking what was so, and then, you know, making it okay and making it great and making it palatable to people. She just, you know, she never leaned into the negative of anything. Not publicly.
That was the genius. That was the genius of it. And it appeared on, it was like, aside from their own show, was all over and everybody else's shows, guest spots all over, and a pretty solid career. So Tuscany had to be a great time. I know that
the best.
Yeah, great stuff about that whole experience. and
Yeah.
working with working with Tracy Stark and Lenny Watts.
Yeah.
So the process for this show, you brought them after trying that song out there and knowing
Mhm.
that was something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
You said, okay, let me put something together, and then you
That's
brought
right.
it to them, and then you all tinkered together, or how did that work?
Yeah, you know, another benefit of being in Lenny Watts's world is that he offers all those great classes through Signasium. So when, you know, if you're not ready to just dive in with all of your ideas, those classes, the Sing Your Story classes and the Cab Labs, they give you a chance to really try stuff out. And so, you know, I took some Sing Your Story classes with Tracy was musical directing, and I also, you know, John Fisher played some of them too. Like he's a wonderful piano player, and he really, you know, helped me hear the songs and hear my voice in them and find my key and all of that. Like that was really helpful just to understand, because I love so many of the songs. There's a bunch that didn't make the cut. You know, I listened to all those cassettes when I was a kid. So I knew a lot of them, and it was really just a matter of, okay, which ones are going to tell her story best.
Right.
Also, you know, she was one of the first to have a great American songbook career. She was, you know, the 70s music scene. A lot of them jumped into that. Linda Ronstadt was first, but she followed soon after. And I think she actually wanted to do it before, but Linda Ronstadt was the one who had the star power to sort of give it a voice.
Right.
And so she was able to then latch onto that. But because she loved that kind of music and did so much of it, there's opportunity to put some of that in the show as well. And that's been really exciting.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And, you know, of course, you know, everything, it was different. Those days were different. The novelty song things were still very powerful. So, you know, I'm just curious. Muskrat Love got a lot of flack, got a lot of people. You know, but the question is that in the show?
We kids love that.
It is in the show.
Kids love that.
The kids love that, I'm sure.
It's absolutely in the show. Oh, as a child, are you kidding? It was my favorite song. And my mother still remembers, like, okay, that's, you know, I'm going to have to listen to this song again. But yeah, I mean, it's a great song.
It took me a little time because we didn't have muskrats in Brooklyn. But, you know, once I realized what was going on, it was fun music, just fun. And so the show at Mom is, you have those dates. Let's show that again, Tony. And let's look at the poster again because it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
great.
Let's look at that poster.
Hannah Jane did the photography, and nice. Jamie Beeman did the card.
Very talented
very
people
nice.
there. Very, very good. And there you have the captain's hat.
Yes, a little nod. He's still around. He's in there. He's touched upon. It's really about her. But yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So you have the hat as the homage, but it really is
correct.
Tony.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that hat passed around a couple of times, and they probably both wore the hat at times. You know, it was all
sure.
Yeah, it's all fine, and that works. But so the dates again, right there for you: May 3rd, May 7th, May 9th, at Don't Tell Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly recommend it. I saw Camille's first show 2 years ago and really enjoyed it because you put together a full, the whole package was there, the music, the in between, the dialogue, and it told the story. And we got to meet your daughter.
Yes.
During that show.
She's too busy now to join me in a duet this time, but
she's busy, huh?
She's so busy.
You can tell she had the show business bug.
Oh yeah, no, she's got it. She, now she's at a performing arts high school. She's a junior. There's many, there are theater companies, that kids can audition for, and so she's always involved in one of those shows. She really has no time for me, but I love her and I support her.
That's the best way not to have time for you, though. A lot of kids have no time for their parents for totally different reasons.
Yeah. We sing together at home.
Giving her that, giving her the music and giving her that to build on and all of that. That's good. That builds the future. And I am a big proponent of that. Everything matters. Everything that music matters most, actually.
Yeah.
It's the thing that really makes everything work out in the end. So, just so like as we get ready to wrap it up and finish the interview. So, you are of that batch of 4. I think Elvira Totoro's got a show that she ran, and
she's still doing it. It's amazing. She's going to be at Chelsea Table. Yeah, Chelsea Table and Stage soon, right? Yeah. Yep.
So it was a great group.
Yeah.
A great group.
I'm still very honored about it, honestly. Like I think they're all so incredibly talented. I I mean, truly, it was
And a dear group of
a
people.
dear, fat, yeah, wonderful. It was, and I think all four of us really felt just the whole season of the nominations. It was just, it felt, the whole thing felt very heightened and very fun, and just a true honor to be walking with each other.
Yeah.
I've talked to Nicole and Eden about this specifically, and we, and Eden, I mean, this is what's funny, that award season
shows all the time.
Her show was great, and she won a Mac Award for Best Novelty Song for I think the lyrics, right? Like she literally she won an award that year, and Elvira got a bistro that year. I mean,
and I see and every now and then I'm out, and I see that you guys cross each other's paths.
Yes,
and it's it was a very good year for debut. I will say that, and really appreciate it. And
it's nice to hear that sisterhoods and hopefully brotherhoods come out of those competitions.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. Absolutely.
And this year's Mac Awards, we were there and we saw another level of, how things are continuing to go. In spite of all the fury and everything that happens around us, it's on us to make sure that we keep delivering music and entertainment and happiness and joy. And we thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing the show.
The process of putting something together is such a joy. I think even if I didn't perform, I'd want to keep working on things, like the creative process of it, the working with people that you love, the building of something that didn't exist before. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
The collaboration, I think that's one of the many wonderful riches that come out of this kind of work. I mean, the collaboration and the people that you work with are everything. So
I agree. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Camille, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I look forward to the show.
I'm excited to have you there. Yay. Yeah. An audience. Woohoo.
Yeah. All right, Tony. I think we're ready to, head off into today's whatever it may be.
Okay, I'm sad to see us.
Every day is a new adventure, that's for sure.
It is. I'm so sorry to end it so soon. It feels like we just got started, but I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect and have fun. Getting it all shined up. All good things. Wishing you all good things for your run at Don't Tell Mama.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent. Bye now.
Bye now.
Bye.